baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, 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 no.
I'm back. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Bright here, the R&B kid, and I'm back again with another long overdue episode of On the Bright Side TV. Welcome back, y'all. How you doing? We're doing very well. Listen, y'all, I know we've been going for a long time now. We're going for a minute, almost like a year now. I think the last video I put out was my reaction to the SOS album back in December. And I really didn't plan to take a break around that time, but then at the top of the year in January, I was just dealing with a lot of burnout. I was dealing with imposter syndrome, which I know a lot of y'all probably deal with in your own lives. So just, dealing with, being burnt out from like trying to make content consistently while like, have my own personal life and working a full-time job 4 days a week in an office. It just became a lot, and it's still a lot to this day, to be honest. But I do feel like I kind of want to get out of the slump, and that's something I was in, and I don't want to, not feel in control of my life anymore. So while I don't know how consistent I'll be, I do want to get back to making content for you guys, and I do want to get back to, putting out videos on this platform because I feel like, I love what I give to this platform. My numbers and my popularity might not back it up, it might not show, but I'm proud of my channel and what I do. So I definitely want to get back into making content for you guys, and just, I want to get better. I want to revamp my channel over time. So I'm definitely, making small changes where I can to make this channel better for you all and for myself. So welcome, I'm back, y'all. I know I've been gone for a little minute. And speaking of revamp, I've now created a Patreon page. So I definitely have my Patreon link down below in the description box. So definitely check out the link. And please subscribe to my Patreon. And on my Patreon, I'll have like exclusive content. I'll have exclusive videos that I won't put exactly on YouTube. Like, like full reactions for full albums. I'll have that on Patreon, whereas I'll have like edited versions on YouTube, and I'll probably put stuff like my bright side mixes and all, other exclusive content I'll put on my Patreon, and I won't put it on YouTube. So please go check out my Patreon. It's still very new, but go subscribe. I hope you subscribe and support me. If you rock with me, definitely go subscribe to my Patreon. Let's keep the movement going for On the Bright Side TV. But yeah, man, I thought it'd be appropriate for my first video back to be the video that you guys always love from me, and that's my annual Grammy nomination predictions video. So I wanted to hit that off with you guys before the nominations drop this coming Friday, November 10th. And I know this is late, y'all, but better late than never. I've been going through a lot in my life, so I've had a hard time, I've had to take my time and figure out all the nominations and all that, but I'm finally here with my final list, so let's get into it. The 2024 Grammy Awards are going down next year on February, I think it's February 4th, 2024. And the nominations, like I said, they're coming out on November 10th, 2023. So I wanted to make sure I get my video out before the nominations come out. But like I do every year, guys, I'm going to list out my final pick predictions in all the categories that I care about and I feel like I'm knowledgeable in. And I'm going to give you guys my final picks and some other contenders. And then at the end of the video, I'll also, I'll put my screenshots for my full list of, final picks, other alternatives, and also my long shots, which I'm not going to mention in the video. But you can see those at the end of the video in screenshots that I'll have. So you can check that out at the end of the video. But yeah, man, let's get into it. Disclaimer, like I said every year, guys, I'm definitely not the biggest fan of the Grammys these days compared to in years past. We all know that the Grammys are very important. I hope you don't know. If you do know, they're very important for the music industry and for the history of music itself. I would say the Grammys are a very important part of music history, and they're very critical for how the industry works. But at the same time, they're definitely not critical for music itself. So that's the difference I want us to all be aware of. So while I'm kind of indifferent towards the Grammys because I feel like they've made tons of mistakes over the years. Beyonce not winning Album of the Year for Renaissance last year. The Weeknd shutout in 2021. The list goes on and on and on. Kendrick Lamar losing Album of the Year for To Pimp a Butterfly. Like the list goes on and on. But they do get it right sometimes, so we gotta acknowledge that. And they are trying to make things better. But at the same time, we all know the fuckery that comes to the Grammys when it comes to politics. How much of a popularity contest it is. How much it's based on, how much it's affected by chart success and mainstream visibility, where it's really not supposed to be about that. So they do get it right sometimes, but they do get it wrong a lot of times. So I'm really indifferent towards the Grammys, but I still want to talk about them every year because they're an important part of music and music history. And I think, like I always say, I think they're such a great way to kind of have a conversation starter as to what we all thought was the best music every year that came out. So that's why I feel like that's like, to me, their best function is to serve as kind of like a way to kind of unite the world and talking about and kind of celebrating what we thought was the best music for, in the past year. So let's get into it, man. I'm gonna go through all my categories, and then I want y'all to give me your thoughts down below as well. Okay, so y'all ready? Here are my final predictions for the 2024 Grammy nominations. Y'all ready? Let's go. All right, y'all. First category got is Record of the Year. So for Record of the Year, my final picks are Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift, Creepin by Metro Boomin, The Weeknd, and 21 Savage, Kill Bill by SZA, Flowers by Miley Cyrus, Rescue by Foo Fighters, Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo, What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish, and Paint the Town Red by Doja Cat. So I feel pretty good about this final list. I feel good about a lot of them, to be honest. In terms of other contenders for this category, we have a lot. We have Ray and 070 Shake's Escapism. This could definitely make a beeline for this category for sure. Last Night by Morgan Wallen. I don't care about Morgan Wallen. I'm indifferent towards him for obvious reasons. But he had one of the biggest songs of the decade and I believe of the year of the decade of the century so far. So I don't think he'll be nominated, but there's a good chance he could because it's one of the biggest songs of our time. Boys a Liar Part 2 by Pink Panthers and Ice Spice definitely has a shot. I feel like it'll miss, but it's one of the biggest songs of the year, so it definitely has a chance for sure. Fast Car by Luke Combs, another song in the country wave that happened this year that was a big moment. I could definitely see Luke Combs getting with Fast Car, the Tracy Chapman cover. A&W by Lana Del Rey. I've only heard the song once, and I don't really have any affinity towards it, but I know a lot of people were talking about it, coming up in the general category, so I wanted to mention it, although I think it'll miss Record of the Year. All My Life by Lil Durk and J. Cole definitely has a shot as well. Right now, we have no hip-hop in my final lineup, besides Doja Cat a little bit. So I feel like if they want to have some hip-hop, they can definitely nominate All My Life here. Dance the Night by Dua Lipa definitely has a shot as well. Shout out to Dua Lipa. I love the song, a whole bop. Shout out to the Barbie soundtrack. Richmond of North Richmond by Oliver Anthony Music. Another one of the biggest songs of the year. Part of that country wave that happened this year. So I could definitely seeing it having a shot Record of the Year, but I doubt it'll get nominated. And lastly, talking about the country wave, Zach Bryan and Casey Musgraves with I Remember Everything. Definitely has a shot as well in this category. I think it'll miss, but it has a shot. To have that country representation for a year that was big on country for sure. So those are all contenders in Record of the Year. All right, y'all. Now on to Song of the Year. So like I say every year, the difference between Record of the Year and Song of the Year. Record of the Year highlights more of the vocal and the performance and the production of the song, whereas Song of the Year highlights the lyrics and the composition and the arrangement of the song. So for Song of the Year, I have a lot of similarities between Record of the Year, but some people who I had as contenders for Record of the Year. So my final lineup in Song of the Year is Escapism by Ray and 070 Shake, Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift, Kill Bill by SZA, Flowers by Miley Cyrus, All My Life by Lil Durk and J. Cole, Dance the Night by Dua Lipa, What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish, and I Remember Everything by Zach Bryan and Casey Musgraves. So I feel pretty good about this lineup for sure. We'll see what happens. Other contenders in Song of the Year, these songs all have a shot for sure. Ready As I'll Ever Be by Tanya Tucker. I've heard a lot about that song, so I can see it making a play. People by LaBianca. I feel like she definitely won't make it, but it's just like a hope diction because this is such a beautifully written and arranged song that I would love for it to get love, and I feel like it has a shot. But it's an Afrobeat song, so we'll see. Creepin by Metro Boomin, The Weeknd, and 21 Savage. It definitely has a shot in Song of the Year since I think it'll be Record of the Year. Last Night by Morgan Wallen again, one of the biggest songs of our time, so here we go. Boys a Liar Part 2, again, I don't think it'll make the general categories, but it has a shot as one of the biggest songs of the year. Shout out to Pink Panthers and Ice Spice. A&W by Lana Del Rey, again, I can see it making I can see it getting a spot in Song of the Year, even though I doubt it. Dear Insecurity by Brandy Clark and Brandy Carlisle. I've heard a lot about this song in Song of the Year, so I don't think it'll make it. I definitely wanted to mention it in case it actually does come in the final lineup. And Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo. I think she'll miss Song of the Year, but I think she'll get Record of the Year, but she could get Song of the Year too. Richmond of North Richmond by Oliver Anthony Music. I definitely feel like it has a shot in Song of the Year as well because it's a really powerfully written song, talking about a lot of interesting things for this country and for the world. So why not? Paint the Town Red by Doja Cat. I definitely feel like Doja can make it in this category as well, even though I think she'll mostly be in Record of the Year. And lastly, Butterfly by Jon Batiste. I think he has a shot in this category as well with this beautiful song. So those are my other contenders for Song of the Year. Next category got is Album of the Year, one of the biggest categories every year. It's the last award of the night. So my final picks in Album of the Year this year, we have Midnights by Taylor Swift, SOS by SZA, Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard by Lana Del Rey, The Record by Boy Genius, But Here We Are by Foo Fighters, World's Music Radio by Jon Batiste, Zach Bryan by Zach Bryan, and Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. So I feel pretty good about this final lineup for sure, but we'll see what happens. Other alternatives I have for album of the year: Babyface's album, Girls Night Out. This is his duets album with a bunch of R&B female singers. Great project, and I feel like it's the only R&B album we have in this in this lineup as a contender. So I had to have it here for sure. Bruce Springsteen's Only the Strong Survive. I feel like he definitely checks out that veteran, country pick that always is like has a strong chance of being nominated every year. So he's in that slot. Heroes and Villains by Metro Boomin. He definitely has a shot as well. He kind of had a breakout year with this album, so I definitely think he's definitely on the cusp of a nomination. I actually had him in my final lineup for a while, but I took him out and I replaced him with Lana Del Rey. So I was kind of going back and forth between whether to put Lana Del Rey or Metro Boomin in that final spot, and I decided to go with Lana Del Rey, especially since she missed album of the year for her last two albums that came out in 2021. So I feel like they'll give her this nomination this year, and I think Metro will miss album of the year nomination, but he's definitely in contention. Also, One Thing at a Time by Morgan Wallen. Again, I don't care about Morgan Wallen for obvious reasons, but he had one of the biggest albums of the year commercially, so he definitely has a shot for being recognized. Endless Summer Vacation by Miley Cyrus. I feel like this is a pop album this year that, besides Flowers, didn't really make a lot of noise, besides like some of its singles, but I think it has a strong shot at, having a nomination for the strong year that Miley Cyrus has had. Portals by Melanie Martinez. I could definitely see this having a shot. I don't think a lot of people have really talked about this album, this Grammy cycle like that, but the album debuted at number 2. It got critical acclaim, so I could definitely see Portals being like a dark horse for this category for sure. And lastly, Utopia by Travis Scott. Another album that could fill that hip-hop slot that we don't really have right now in my final lineup. So if it's not Metro Boomin, I could see being Travis Scott that kind of fills that hip-hop slot for album of the year. Next category, guys, is Best New Artist. Always one of the most interesting categories every year. Let's see what happens. This category is always usually pretty wild. My final picks for Best New Artist, we have Alvase. I think that's how you say their name. Alvase. Coco Jones. Gracie Abrams. Ice Spice. Laufey. Noah Kahan. Peso Pluma. And Ray. So I feel pretty good about my final 8, but as always, this category is wide open. Anything can happen. Other alternatives I have for this category, I'll just say, I guess my locks for this category are definitely Coco Jones and Ice Spice, and I want to say Peso Pluma. I feel like those are the 3 locks for me, but as always, anything can happen. But I feel pretty good about the other artists as well. My other alternatives for this category, we have Amare. Love her. I love her global Afro pop sound. She's amazing. I don't think she'll get nominated, but she definitely is in contention. Bailey Zimmerman. Definitely feels like he's on the cusp of a nomination, to kind of fill that male country alternative folk slot. Coi Leray, she's had a big year, so I think she can get nominated for sure. I don't think she submitted herself, but if she did, I definitely have Doechii in contention as well. I love Doechii. Friday, I think definitely has a shot as well. Shout out to Friday. I love what he's doing right now. I love his tone. I love his voice. I love his artistry. I love his music. So he definitely has a shot. Lainey Wilson to kind of fill that new female country slot. I could see her having a nomination. Jelly Roll as well. I think he's also in that like country alternative folk lane. I've heard his name a lot, even though I don't know his music. Metro Boomin. I don't think he submitted himself, but if he did, I can see him getting a nomination out of off of his breakout year for Heroes and Villains. Pink Panthers, I feel like she'll miss this category because she only had one big song this year, but she could be nominated out for Boys Live Part 2, so why not? Even though her album comes out later this month, so we'll see. Q, I love Q, love his music, love his vision. He's an amazing artist I really wish more people were tapped into. So I don't think he has enough of a profile on to be nominated, but I really think he deserves the nomination, so he's in contention in my eyes. Rema, again, Afrobeats artists have had a hard time breaking into this category, but he's had a big year with Calm Down, so he could be nominated for sure. Renee Rapp, I know she's had a lot of, she's had like somewhat of a good push this year, but I don't think she'll make it in. I had her in my final lineup for a while, but I took her out because I don't think she's gonna be in the final 8, but she definitely has a shot. She's had a really good year with a good debut album. Sabrina Carpenter, she had a moment with Nonsense. So again, not enough music I think that's had enough attention around it besides Nonsense, but she could make it. Teddy Swims, I've heard a lot about him, so I know I think he put out an album this year that can put him in this category, but we'll see. And lastly, my girl Victoria Monet just went to the Jaguar tour a few days ago in Boston. Shout out to Victoria Monet. I don't know if she'll be nominated, but I definitely have her on the cusp because she's deserving of it. She's had an amazing breakout year. It'll be so deserved, and I definitely, if I had it in my way, I'll put her in my final lineup. But I think she'll miss. But in my opinion, she definitely is in contention for this award. So we'll see what happens. And last thing I want to say about the general categories, starting this year, guys, Producer of the Year and Songwriter of the Year, which is a new category that started last year. Both of those categories are not going to be considered in the general fields. So while I won't list out my predictions for Songwriter of the Year because I don't really have a good handle on it, Producer of the Year, same thing. I don't really have a good handle on it this year, but some people I think are definitely contention for Producer of the Year. I just mentioned them really quickly. Dan Nigro, Hit Boy, Jack Antonoff, Jeff Giddy Gittleman, John Bellion, Kitchenada, and Metro Boomin. I feel like those are all producers that have a shot at this category, but I really have no idea who's going to be nominated, so I'm not going to go into it in depth. But yeah. All right, now we're on to the pop field. First category we got is Best Pop Solo Performance. So I'm actually predicting an all-female lineup this year, I think for the first time in probably ever or a long time. But my final picks in this category are Antihero by Taylor Swift, Flowers by Miley Cyrus, Dance the Night by Dua Lipa, I love that song, Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo, What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish, and Paint the Town Red by Doja Cat. I feel pretty good. I feel like this will be the final 6. I think it'll also be a 6-person lineup as well, not a 5-person lineup because it's such a stacked category this year, so we'll see what happens. I really wanted SZA in this category with Kill Bill, but unfortunately she submitted Kill Bill to Best R&B Performance, which is fine, but I feel like it would have fit better in this category, and I feel like it would have given her another nomination. So I'm really mad her team didn't submit her to this category with Kill Bill, but it is what it is. Other alternatives I have for this category, we got Jake with his track Golden Hour. I love that song. Made You Look by Meghan Trainor, a song that kind of fizzled out. At this time of the year, it really peaked really early in the year, but a really great song that I feel like would deserve this nomination for sure. I love this record. Shout out to Meghan Trainor. Again, another early contender, Rihanna's Lift Me Up. That really peaked really early in the year, but it could have a shot as well. A really great song. Shout out to Rihanna. SZA submitted her track Nobody Gets Me to this category, which obviously fits as well, but Nobody Gets Me kind of came and went. So I don't think it'll get nominated, but it definitely would deserve the nomination. It's a great song. I love that. I love that record. And it deserved more of a moment when it came out. Pink's Trust Fall definitely has a shot as well, even though I feel like it fit better in Best Pop Dance Recording. I don't know why her team didn't submit it to that category, but it is what it is. I feel like she would have been nominated in that category, where she won't. I don't think she'll get this nomination, so it is what it is. Sabrina Carpenter's Nonsense definitely has a shot as well. Ed Sheeran's Eyes Closed, I can see it happening. Chemical by Post Malone, kind of came and went, but I can see it happening. Where She Goes by Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny just got nominated last year, so I'm not going to count him out. Why not? Sure Thing Live by Miguel. I feel like he should have submitted this track again to R&B Performance and not this category, but it is what it is. I feel like he would have had a better shot being nominated in the R&B category compared to this category, but he submitted it here, so it is what it is. And last but not least, Tate McRae's Greedy, kind of a late breaker in this season. It's really making a big splash right now, so I don't think it'll get nominated, but it could, because it's doing its thing right now, so why not? All right, on to what I think is one of the most boring and non-competitive categories this year, and that's Best Pop Duo / Group Performance. No shade, it is what it is though. My final picks for this category are Escapism by Ray and 070 Shake. I love this song. Hope it wins, even though I don't know if it will. Boys a Liar Part 2 by Pink Panthers and Ice Spice. TQG by Karol G and Shakira. Waffle House by Jonas Brothers. And 7 by Jungkook and Latto. Yeah, I feel like the locks here are definitely Escapism and Boys a Liar Part 2. I'll be shocked if either of those two songs missed. I hope one of them wins, namely Escapism, because that track is everything. But yeah, this category is wide open, so we'll have to see what happens. Other alternatives I have for this category, other contenders in this wide open category, we have Ghost in the Machine by SZA and Phoebe Bridgers. So this wasn't a single off of the SOS album, but it definitely, I think, is one of the deep cuts, and it's a beloved song off the album. And SZA and Phoebe Bridgers are both beloved artists in the industry, so it could happen. Why not? Shakira and Bizarre Rap's, Bizarre Rap Music Sessions Volume 53. That song, really did its thing early in the year, so I could see it, being the nomination here for Shakira instead of her collaboration with Karol G. It could happen instead. 1,000 Miles by Miley Cyrus and Brandi Carlile. Again, this wasn't a single off of Miley Cyrus's album, but it's a deep cut by two beloved artists, so it could happen for sure, and they submitted it. Life Goes On by Ed Sheeran and Luke Combs. Again, this duet wasn't the big moment that I think was supposed to be, but two beloved artists on a really good song. It could happen in a really dry and wide open year. Why not? Karma by Taylor Swift and Ice Spice. I don't like this remix. The original I like, but I don't like the remix for Ice Spice. And even though it's not a great song, because it was one of the biggest songs of the year, like landed at number 2. It did its thing on the charts. I could say it being nominated. but it wouldn't deserve the nomination at all, in my opinion. But it could happen, so I wanted to mention it. And lastly, again, another song that wasn't that great, but because of all the star power on it, it could happen. And that's K-Pop by Travis Scott, The Weeknd, and Bad Bunny. This is a really, a song that kind of came and went, but 3 big artists, and it was pretty good of a song, so it could happen. Why not? Next category is Best Pop Dance Recording. This is a new category that they put in this year, and I'm glad they did because I feel like it makes a lot of sense as a way to really bridge the pop lane and the dance lane into one. So this category makes a lot of sense. I'm glad they finally put it in. My final picks in this category are Miracle by Calvin Harris and Ellie Goulding, Baby Don't Hurt Me by David Guetta, Anne Marie, and Coi Leray, Param Param by Kylie Minogue, Rush by Troye Sivan, love that song, and Del Resto Echoes by Travis Scott and Beyonce. So I don't know how I feel about my final lineup because I feel like I don't have the best handle on this category, but I do feel like the locks are definitely Param Param, and I want to say Rush, but I could be wrong. But I feel pretty good about at least those 2 songs, and I feel good about some of the other ones, but we'll see what happens. Del Resto, I don't think it'll get nominated, but I kind of put it in here as a hope diction because I think it's a really cool song by Travis Scott and Beyonce that I wish more got more attention this year. Other alternatives I have for this category, I don't really have a lot because like I said, I don't really know what they'll go for in this category for the first year. But other alternatives that I have are Jessie Ware's Freak Me Now, All Right by Victoria Monet. Love that song. That's a banger. Shout out to Victoria Monet. All right. That's a jam. I'm glad she submitted to this category. It makes sense here, and I love that song. So I hope it gets nominated, but I know it won't, but it should. And lastly, I kind of just a random one I put out there. J Balvin, Usher, and DJ Khaled's Dientes. I don't think it'll get nominated, but it's in contention, so why not? So yeah, it's probably a lot of other songs I've missed that I didn't think about. So definitely let me know down below if you think there's any songs that I missed mentioning in this category. And last category I'll talk about in the pop fields, and that's Best Pop Vocal Album. So for this year, in my final picks for this category, I have Midnights by Taylor Swift, Endless Summer Vacation by Miley Cyrus, Subtract by Ed Sheeran, Chemistry by Kelly Clarkson, and Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. I feel pretty good about 4 of those 5. To me, Ed Sheeran is the vulnerable one, but I put him here as my fifth place slot. But I feel pretty good about the other 4 ladies, mainly Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo for sure. I think those are locks. But I feel pretty good about Miley Cyrus for sure, and also Kelly as well. Other alternatives in this category, we have Meghan Trainor's Taking It Back album. That album kind of came and went, but it's a really solid project, so I could see it being nominated. Gloria by Sam Smith. Again, this album came and went besides Unholy, but it's a solid album by Sam Smith, so I can definitely see it getting love here for sure, even though his last few albums have all missed this category, unfortunately. Ray's My 21st Century Blues. To me, out of all my contenders here, it's definitely, to me, the strongest one and the one that I would nominate personally myself in the category if I could. But I think she'll miss, but she definitely deserves it, and she's definitely in contention with an amazing album of hers. So I would love for this album to get recognized. Besides Escapism, the album is great itself, so we'll see. Pink's Trust Fall, another solid album by a Grammy favorite and a veteran. That was solid project. So I think it'll miss, but it definitely could get nominated for sure because it was a pretty good album, even though it kind of came and went according to Pink standards. Also, Neil Horn or Now Horns, The Show, a great project that kind of came and went for sure, but it was a really good project. So it could, definitely has a shot at a nomination. Post Malone's Austin. A solid album that was pretty good. Came and went according to Post Malone standards, to be honest. But it was a solid project, and Post Malone is a favorite, so he could get love in this category for sure. And lastly, Renee Rapp's Snow Angel. This is her debut album, so she's not owed anything, but she could get some love in this category for sure. I have her kind of on the bubble of Best New Artist and this category, and while I think she'll miss both categories, there's a chance she could get one or both. So she has a shot at both of those categories, especially this one as well, so we'll see. Alright, y'all, now we're on to my favorite field. As y'all know, every year, my favorite categories. Now we're on to the R&B categories. Let's go. Let's get it. First up, we have Best R&B Performance. So my final picks for this category this year, I have I See You by Coco Jones, Kill Bill by SZA, What It Is solo version by Doechii, Always by Daniel Caesar, and Good Good by Usher, Summer Walker, and 21 Savage. I feel pretty good about this final lineup, but as always, we'll have to see what happens. I feel like the locks are definitely, I See You and Kill Bill. I feel like those are the locks. I also want to say Good Good is a lock too, but I could, Usher could miss, but I see him being a lock for sure. Doechii and Daniel Caesar are vulnerable, but I hope they make it in. There were so many other alternatives I have for this category, and so many other people I wanted to put in. It hurts my soul, but these are my other contenders for this category. Creepin by Metro Boomin, The Weeknd and 21 Savage for sure. I think it'll be in record of the year, so definitely has a shot here as well. Breaking Point by Leon Thomas, fire song. I love this record. It deserves. I don't think it'll get nominated, but it deserves. Great record. This Is by LMA for sure. Special by Lizzo and SZA. I feel like it would have been a better contender. Would have had a better shot at nomination in Best Pop Duo Performance, but they submitted it to the Army category, so it is what it is. Moonlight by Kali Uchis. Love that song. Definitely has a shot as well. Ego Talking by St. Harrison. What a vocal, what a performance. St. Harrison killed that, so definitely has a shot here. Although he doesn't have as much of a profile on his name, so I think he'll miss for sure. New Type by Summer Walker and Childish Gambino. One of the most interesting and probably one of the best songs off of her Clear 2 EP, so I definitely see him having a shot at nomination. Doctor My Eyes by Kamari. I can see it happening. Shout out to Kamari. Be My Summer by Snow Allegra. A great song that I don't think will get nominated, but has a shot, so I want to mention it. Again, same thing with Sierra and Chris Brown's Hobby Roll. A song that it kind of didn't really make a splash like that, but I love it. It's a great song, so I can see it being nominated. Hallie's Angel. Shout out to Hallie with this great song. Beautiful message, great performance, so I can see it being nominated here. John Batiste and Lil Wayne's Uneasy, one of the gems off of his album. Really great song, great production, performance, all around, great record. Brent Fast and Coco Jones's Moment of Your Life. I could definitely see it being nominated here. It's a great song, kind of a late breaker in the season. And lastly, Victoria Monet's How Does It Make You Feel? I really had it in my final lineup for a long time, but I took her out because I couldn't fit her in. But if I had it my way, I would nominate this song. One of the best songs off of Jaguar 2. Such a beautiful vocal. Her tone, her performance in the song is so amazing. So it really would deserve the nomination, but I think it'll miss. But definitely is a contender for this category. So next up, we have Best Traditional R&B Performance. And my final picks this year for this category, I have Today by Q, Back to Your Place by October London, Glue by Usher, Back on 74 by Jungle, and Hollywood by Victoria Monet, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. I love this lineup. This lineup is fire. If it goes like this or something like this, it'll be fire, but we'll see what happens. My alternatives for this category, these are all the great songs as well. We have These Sacred Souls with Love Is the Way. I could definitely say it's being nominated as well. It's definitely on the bubble. Simple by Babyface and Coco Jones. Definitely one of the best songs off of that, Girls Night Out album. And, along with, Babyface being a veteran and Coco Jones with her star rising, I could see them both getting this joint nomination as well. And him and LMA were nominated for their track last year as well, so why not? Lettucey's I Need to Know. This song kind of came and went for Lettucey this year, but Lettucey's a Grammy favorite. She's a veteran. She's loved, so this is a good song, so it could get a nomination. PJ Morton and Susan Carroll's Good Morning. This song didn't really make a splash like that, but PJ Morton is a Grammy favorite, and this song is a really good record, really good performance, so he definitely has a shot at nom for sure. Meta and the Free Nationals with Through the Night. One of the best songs off of her album, When I Hear Your Name. Really great record. I could see it being nominated for sure. Pull Up by Summer Walker. While she really talks a lot towards the end of the song, it's like a spoken word type of vibe. It's definitely one of the most interesting songs off of her EP, and definitely has a great traditional sense about it, so I can see it being nominated for sure. And lastly, a Kamari with These Four Walls. A beautiful song, beautiful performance. I can see it being nominated here. Even though it's not that traditional to me, it could still get a nomination. So let's see what happens. All right, y'all. Now we're on to Best R&B Song, which have a lot of similarities to the previous two categories that we've talked about. My final picks for Best R&B Song, we have Creepin by Metro Boomin, The Weeknd, and 21 Savage. Always by Daniel Caesar. Snooze by SZA. I love this song. On My Mama by Victoria Monet. A bop. And Good Good by Usher, Summer Walker, and 21 Savage. I feel pretty good about this lineup for sure, especially, Snooze. I feel like Snooze is a lock. And I want to say On My Mama, I think it's going to be a lock as well. Other alternatives for this category, you've already heard a lot of these songs. Again, ICU by Coco Jones. I had her in my final lineup in this category for a long time, and I definitely think she has a shot at getting nominated, but I took her out the last minute. But I definitely see her getting nominated in this category, even though I took her out. But great song. Today by Q, for sure. Breaking Point by Leon Thomas, for sure. This Is by LMA. Great. I love the lyrics on that song, so I definitely think it can get nominated. It has a really classic arrangement to it, really classic lyrics that should get nominated, even though I don't think it will. Back to Your Place by October London. He definitely has a shot to get nominated in this category as well. He said he's had a good year in R&B. Again, Lizzo and SZA with their track Special. Dochi's What It Is solo version could be nominated here. I kept his performance and took it out of R&B Song, but it really does have a great structure to it, so I can see it getting nominated in R&B Song for sure. Janelle Monáe's Lipstick Lover. I love that song to death. That's my joint. I love Lipstick Lover, so I could definitely see it being nominated here, even though I don't think it will. Ego Talking by St. Harrison again, for sure. These Four Walls by Kamari. I could definitely see it in this category. Hard Life by Summer Walker. Really great song. Really good lyrics. I could see it being nominated in this category for sure. Be My Summer by Snow Allegra again. How We Roll by Sierra and Chris Brown. I can see it get love in this category as well. And Hallie's Angel as well can get nominated here. Really great lyrics, empowering, impactful, inspirational lyrics that could definitely get recognized in this category. And lastly, Brent Faiyaz and Coco Jones with Moment of Your Life again. Definitely has a shot. Even though I don't think it will get on it, but it definitely has a shot for sure. All right, y'all. Now into one of my favorite categories every year, and that's Best Progressive R&B Album. I still am not in love with the title of this category, but it is what it is. I love the category itself for the music that it houses. So let's get into it. My final picks for Best Progressive R&B Album are SOS by SZA, Red Moon and Venus by Kali Uchis, Never Enough by Daniel Caesar, The Age of Pleasure by Janelle Monáe, and the Love Album Off the Grid by Diddy. So I feel pretty good about this final lineup that I have. I feel like obviously the only lock is SZA. I want to say SZA's the lock, and really this is the SZA and Friends category, no shade. This is SZA's category to lose. She's going to win it, so it's hers. But now it's about who else will get nominated around her. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. I feel pretty good about Kali Uchis and Janelle Monáe. I feel like Daniel Caesar is vulnerable, but I feel good about him here, even though I feel like he should have submitted his album to Best R&B Album. I feel like Never Enough would have fit better in R&B album sonically. Like, it has progressive elements to it, but I feel like it's more of a traditional R&B album, so I feel like it should have been submitted to Best R&B Album instead of taking a precious slot in this category, but it is what it is. And Diddy, I feel like is definitely vulnerable, but I for some reason, I feel like he'll get a nomination for the Love Album Off the Grid, so I just have him here. Other alternatives for this category that we have, I have Raven by Kalela. That was a really nice, dance electronic R&B album that really, made great waves this year. It was really a critical darling and gem this year, even though it didn't really do its thing commercially like that. Same thing with Masego's album, his self-titled album Masego. This album didn't really make any commercial splash, but it's a really great project that just gets better with time. Really well produced and well made album. Black, Since I Have a Lover. He could definitely get nominated in this category. This is definitely one of his weakest albums to date, but he's a Grammy favorite and a great artist, so I can see him getting nominated for this album for sure. Q's Soul Present. This is an album that I love. He deserves way more love for this album. Great project. He has this 80s Prince vibe to him that is so classic and timeless, but still it feels fresh and current. Love this project. He deserves the nomination. And I had him in my final lineup for a while, but I took him out. But if I had him my way, I would nominate Q for his album. Jungle's Volcano album. I've not heard this album in full, but I've heard a lot about it, so I can definitely see him getting love in this category. John Batiste with World Music Radio. I don't know if he submitted his album to this category. I saw he only submitted his album to Album of the Year, but if he did submit his album to this category or another, genre album category, I could definitely see it getting nominated for sure. So, and lastly, Leon Thomas's Electric Dusk. Again, this is his debut album, so I don't think it'll get nominated, but it's a pretty solid project, so I could definitely see it, getting some love in this category for sure. But I doubt it, so we'll see what happens. All right, y'all. Last category in R&B, and that's Best R&B Album. So this category is really interesting this year because I don't think it's a bad category, but it also feels really wide open, but also not at the same time. If that makes sense, I don't know how to describe it. My final picks in this category, we got Babyface with his Girls Night Out album. Coco Jones with What I Didn't Tell You Deluxe. October London with The Rebirth of Marvin. Summer Walker with Claire 2 Soft Life. And Victoria Monet with Jaguar 2. So I feel pretty good about this lineup, but at the same time, we definitely will have to wait to see what happens. I feel like the only lock here I want to say is Babyface. And maybe Coco Jones, but even Coco could miss as well. So, and I think Victoria could miss as well, but I'm hoping in my mind that she's a lock because Jaguar 2 is everything. So we'll have to see what happens. Summer Walker could miss easily because the Grammys hate Summer. They don't rock with her. I don't know why. But I feel like this is the year where Summer Walker will finally get redemption and get love for her own album outside of Good, the track with Usher. So I think she'll get nominated for her Clear 2 project, but we'll see. Other alternatives I have in this category: Victims and Villains by Musiq Soulchild and Hit Boy. Love this album. I could definitely see it getting love. Chloe's In Pieces. I don't know why she submitted her album to this category instead of, best progressive R&B album, but it is what it is. So I don't think she get nominated at all because her album wasn't like that appreciated by the world. But it can, the industry loves her, so it could happen. Baby Rose with her album Through and Through, another really quiet hidden gem this year. That was a really great project, really beautiful. She has a beautiful voice, beautiful tone, great music, so it could get love here. Meta's When I Hear Your Name, another solid album this year that I think a lot more people, I really wish more people were attached to her and her album. Really great project. Shout out to Meta. Grudges by Kiana Lede. If I had it my way, I'll probably have her in my final 5 because to me she has one of the strongest albums of this year. I love Grudges. That's a great album. So she definitely is in contention. And lastly, Cleo Soul with Heaven. Heaven is an album that made the cut. Gold will have to compete next year, even though I love that album more. But Heaven could definitely be a nomination for our best R&B album this year by a really beloved artist that makes great music. Shout out to Cleo Soul. All right, y'all. Next up, we got the rap categories. So first up, we got best rap performance. So for best rap performance, my final picks are Rich Flex by Drake and 21 Savage, Players by Coi Leray, Superhero, Heroes and Villains by Metro Boomin, Future and Chris Brown, Fuck You Mean by Gunna, and Meltdown by Travis Scott and Drake. So I feel pretty good about this lineup, but I feel like it's not going to be this. Well, we'll see what happens, but I feel pretty good about most of these, especially Players and Fuck You Mean. And apparently, to address the elephant in the room, Drake has submitted Her Loss and the tracks off that album for consideration this year. So I guess Drake is off the Fuck the Grammys campaign. And he's off the Fuck the Grammys train, which I'm not surprised at all. So I think he's finally back around to being like, I'll submit my stuff. So Her Loss, I think, should be a part of the Grammy ceremony this year, if I'm not wrong, because I saw that he submitted his stuff. But we'll see what happens. Other alternatives for best rap performance, we got Just Wanna Rock by Lil Uzi Vert. I can't see the song getting nominated for Grammy. Like, I would be shocked if it did get nominated, but it was one of the biggest songs of the year, so I could definitely see it happening. Tomorrow 2 by Glorilla and Cardi B. For sure, it can get nominated. In Her Mood by Ice Spice. I don't know why her team submitted this song instead of Princess Diana remix with Nicki. I feel like that was the biggest song of her career this year, and one of the biggest songs of the year in general. So I don't know why they didn't submit that track. They submitted In Her Mood to to this category instead. I don't know why, but it is what it is. And speaking of Nicki, Red Ruby the Sleaze, I can see that being nominated as well. Also, Tyler the Creator with Dog Tooth. Love that track. Definitely would deserve the nomination if it got it. Lotto and Cardi B would Put It On The Floor Again. I could definitely see it, being nominated here for sure. Great performance by both of them. They killed it. Baby Keem and Kendrick Lamar with The Hillbillies. Compared to Family Ties, which had way more of a commercial presence, this song kind of came and went. It didn't really do much numbers, but still was a really cool song, cool performance. So I can see it being nominated just as a random Dark Horse nomination. And lastly, Young Thug and Drake's Oh You Went. I don't see the song being nominated, but it was a pretty big song this year by two, beloved rap artists. So I can see it happening, but I doubt it. All right, next up we got Best Melodic Rap Performance. So for this category, and this is always my favorite categories every year, in this category for my final picks, I have Favorite Song by Tusi, All My Life by Lil Durk and J. Cole, Attention by Doja Cat, Barbie World by Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice, and Telekinesis by Travis Scott, SZA, and Future. So the only songs I feel like is a lock in this category is definitely All My Life. And I wouldn't say Favorite Song and Attention are locks, but I feel pretty good about those tracks for sure. Barbie World, I don't want it to be nominated, and I don't think it should be nominated, but I think it will happen because it's one of the biggest songs of the year. And, Ice Spice and Nicki submitted this track to this category. So it doesn't make sense that it's here. I feel like it should be in Best Rap Performance. It's only here because of that Barbie World sample, but it should be a rap performance, but it's here, so it is what it is. And Telekinesis, I feel like it makes sense, even though I don't think it should be nominated. I feel like it just makes sense. SZA and Future got nominated together with that DJ Khaled track last year. So, and Travis Scott, I think he'll rack up a lot of noms for Utopia. So I feel like this will be one of them. So it's here. Other alternatives I have for this category, we have Drake and 21 Savage with Spin About You. I don't think they'll get nominated, but it has a shot, so why not? Too Many Nights with Metro Boomin, Future and Don Toliver. I could definitely see, this being another nomination for Metro Boomin's big album, Heroes and Villains, so why not? Low by SZA. Keep it on low ski, I'm the lowest of the lowest. I love that song. It wasn't a single, but definitely one of the most beloved tracks off of SOS, and it was submitted here, so I can see it being nominated for sure. It could happen, why not? I love that track. Temporary by Black and Don Toliver. Love the song, one of the biggest songs off of Black's album, and a great collaboration, so I can see it happening. War of Talk by Tyler Creator and A$AP Rocky. A really cool track off of that, estate sale version of his album, Call Me If You Get Lost. Really great track. It was submitted here. I can see it being nominated, although I doubt it, but it could happen. He just got nominated for this category like 2 years ago with What's Your Name, so why not? To Summer from Cole, Audio Hug by Summer Cole and by Summer Walker and J. Cole. I can see it happening for sure. I really had it in my final lineup for a while, but I took him out towards the end. But I can see it happening for sure. Great collaboration, great track between both of these artists for sure. Sit on Top of the World by Burna Boy and 21 Savage. I can see it happening for sure. And lastly, Another One of Me by Diddy, French Montana, The Weeknd, and 21 Savage. This is definitely one of the biggest tracks off of Diddy's album, so I can see it getting love in this category for sure. And I think it actually kind of will, but I didn't predict it, but I think it actually will happen, so we'll see. Next category is Best Rap Songs. They also have a lot of the songs we've already talked about in Rap Performance and Melodic Rap Performance. So for Best Rap Song, my final picks are Rich Flex by Drake and 21 Savage, Tomorrow 2 by Gorilla and Cardi B. I can see it being here. All My Life by Lil Durk and J. Cole, Put It On The Floor Again by Lotto and Cardi B, and Attention by Doja Cat. So I feel pretty good about those songs being here, but this category is very wide open, so we'll see what happens. I feel like the only lock is definitely All My Life. I think that's the only lock right now. But I'm also rooting for all the ladies in this category. I feel like they all put out bangers that should get nominated here. So we'll see what happens. All the alternatives for this category, Superhero, Heroes and Villains by Metro Boomin, Future and Chris Brown. Definitely has a shot. In Her Mood by Ice Spice. Again, I don't think it should be here compared to Princess Diana, but it is what it is. Favorite Song by Tusi. Red Ruby the Sleaze by Nicki Minaj. Definitely has a shot here. Dogtooth, again, by Tyler Creator. I could see it being here as well. Fuck You Me by Gunna. I could see it being nominated here, even though I don't think it should be. Although I'm cool with it in performance. Oh You Went by Young Thug and Drake. Again, I could see it being here. Really cool arrangement on that song. Barbie World by Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice. I don't think it should be here, but it could. For sure, it's one of the biggest songs of the year. Meltdown by Travis Scott and Drake. I don't have it in my final lineup, but it definitely has a shot at nomination here. Although for now, I left in performance. And lastly, again, Diddy's track, Another One of Me with French Montana, The Weeknd, and 21 Savage. I think that's a good shot at being nominated here. I don't have it in my final lineup, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's here come nomination day. So that's Best Rap Song. Let me know what y'all think about this category down below. All right, y'all, last category in the rap field, and that's Best Rap Album. Always one of the most interesting categories every year, and they have totally ruined this category in the past few years. They've done some stupid things with this category, so we'll see what happens this year. But my final picks for Best Rap Album are Her Loss by Drake and 21 Savage, King's Disease 3 by Nas, Heroes and Villains by Metro Boomin, Michael by Killer Mike, and Utopia by Travis Scott. I feel like the only locks here are definitely, Utopia and Heroes and Villains. I don't feel like Nas or Her Loss, I don't feel like King's Disease 3 or Her Loss are locks, but I feel pretty good about them. And Killer Mike is definitely vulnerable with this Michael album, but I'm rooting for him here. I have him here. I feel like he'll be like that 5th slot pick that the Grammys will go for. He had a great album, so I think he has goodwill. I think he'll get the nomination, but he could easily miss. Other alternatives I have for Best Rap Album, we got It's Only Me by Lil Baby. I don't want this album to get nominated at all, but I could see it happening. K-Tramine, the collaborative album by K-Tronada and Amine. I love this project. It would definitely deserve it, but I don't think it will, but definitely would deserve it. Almost Healed by Lil Durk. This was a pretty big album this year, so I could see it happening. Gunna's A Gift and a Curse. Gunna's have an interesting story this year, obviously, but a lot of people love this album, so I can see it getting a nomination for sure. Pink Tape by Lil Uzi Vert. This album was hella long. I don't really think it made that much of an impact in the culture this year, outside of Just Wanna Rock and a few of the tracks. But it's one of the biggest albums of the year. First rap album to go #1, so I can see it happening. Santiago by Russ. An album that I would nominate. I love this project. Definitely one of the hidden gems of this year. I love Russ's album. It's such a great project. Would deserve the nomination. I don't think he'll get it, but it definitely would be deserved if he did get it. So I think he's in contention for sure. And lastly, a Rod Wave's Nostalgia album. I haven't heard this album, but it's one of the biggest rap albums of the year. I know a lot of people love this album and love him, so I think this could be his first nomination for sure, so we'll see what happens. All right, y'all, next category I want to talk about is one that I'm so excited about, and this is the first year they're having this category, and I can't wait to see the history of this category and how it progresses for years to come and hopefully for decades to come. And that's Best African Music Performance. I'm so excited that they finally gave African music its own category. It was always limited with, the global music categories, but I'm glad they finally gave African music its own category. I think we have to wait for a while for there to be like an African album category, and that's fine. But for now, we have Best African Music Performance. This is the first year we're having this category. I'm so excited about it. My final picks in this category are Rush by Ira Star, People by Libyanka, Unavailable by Davido and Musa Keys, Amapiano by Ashake and Olamide, and Water by Tyler. So y'all, as a fellow African myself, as a Nigerian, I am so happy about this category and I can't wait to see how it plays out. I don't know how I did with my final picks, but I feel good about a lot of them. We'll see. I feel like I'll be surprised if I don't see, Rush, People, and I want to say even low-key Unavailable and Water. I feel like these songs all have to be here, but because also there's a bunch of songs that I could not be thinking about, throughout the entire African diaspora from other regions of the continent, South Africa, East Africa, other genres I don't listen to like that much compared to like Afro beats and mainstream African artists. So there's probably a bunch of people I'm not considering, but in terms of like more mainstream African music, I feel like this to me feels like a good lineup of like the best of this year. So I feel we'll see what happens. But I'm excited about this category regardless. Other alternatives I have for this category: Too Sugar by Wizkid and Ira Star, Soweto by Victoni, Rema, Tempo, and Don Toliver. I don't know if Soweto was submitted, but if it was submitted, I could see it being nominated for sure. And lastly, City Boys by Burna Boy. There's probably way more tracks that I'm not thinking about, like I said, but I feel pretty good about my final picks and some other alternatives. Let me know what y'all think about this category down below, and let me know who you're rooting for and who you think will get nominated. And it's in the first year we're having this category. Let me know down below. All right, and now on to the last category that I'll talk about this year, and that's Best Music Video. So I don't really know how I feel about how I did with this category, but we'll talk about it. My final picks for Best Music Video are Antihero by Taylor Swift, Sorry Not Sorry by Tyler, the Creator, Void by Melanie Martinez, What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish, and Demons by Doja Cat. So I feel pretty good about Antihero for sure, and won Video of the Year at the VMAs. And I feel pretty good about Billie Eilish. That video was so like iconic. It was such a unique concept, and such a I just think it's a video that really stands out this year, and it was really well made and well directed with a really original idea. So I definitely see it getting nominated, especially because I think this song is gonna get love across the board at the Grammys and at the Oscars this year. What Was I Made For is gonna do damage this year, so I definitely see it getting nominated here as well. Demons by Doja Cat I don't feel as strongly about, but I hope it gets in. I'm like hope thinking because it deserves. And Tyler, the Creator, he's never been nominated in this category, even though he's deserved it time and time again. So I don't know, but this is more of a hope diction, but I hope he gets in with Sorry Not Sorry. And Melanie Martinez, amazing video. I don't know if she'll get have enough love around her for this video, but I hope it happens. Other alternatives I have for this category, we have Harry Styles with Music for a Sushi Restaurant. Definitely an interesting video that I love. One of the most unique videos that came out in this Grammy year. So I could definitely see it getting in for sure. Count Me Out by Kendrick Lamar. Really good video. Shout out to Helen Mirren. Really good video. Shout out to Kendrick. I can see Harry and Kendrick maybe being giving some love and after the year where they both had a big push for their last albums for sure. But like a music video nomination in the next year, I can see that happening. And lastly, Olivia Rodrigo with Getting Back. A video that's really good. I can see it happening. She's had a good year, so I can see her getting in. Especially since she got in 2 years ago with Good For You, with the video. So it can happen again with this track, so we'll see what happens. But those are my thoughts on Best Music Video. Let's see who gets nominated, and let me know if there's anybody you think that I missed down below. Alright, y'all, I'm about to close out the video, but before I do, I just want to talk about a few things. I wanted to mention the fact that Rema and Selena Gomez's Calm Down is not eligible for the Grammys this year, which makes me really upset because I feel like it's a song that really defined this year, and I really feel like it would have been a great nomination in either African Music Performance or Best Pop Duo Group Performance. I don't know where they would have placed it, but either place it would have fit, and I feel like it would have been deserving of a nomination, as it really was one of the defining songs of this year. And I think because of a technicality where Rema's team submitted the original version of Calm Down last year. That's why he can't submit it this year. But to me, that's bullshit because Calm Down, the remix with Selena Gomez, is still a track off of the deluxe version of his album, what was it, Roses and Raves or something like that, which came out in the eligibility year. So I don't know why he couldn't just submit the remix as a track off of his deluxe album. To me, that would have made sense, but Grammy technicalities got in the way. So Rema and Selena Gomez will not be competing this year with Calm Down, which is a shame, but I want to mention that for y'all, if anybody who wondered why I didn't mention that song anywhere. And also, in terms of who will be the most nominated artist this year, I have a prediction that if it's not SZA, who would make a lot of sense, I actually have her and this other artist being tied for the most nominations right now in my predictions. If it's not SZA, I have a prediction that the most nominated artist this year will in fact actually be 21 Savage. Or unless it's maybe somebody else in another genre that I'm not thinking about, like maybe somebody in like the rock or country or alternative categories that I'm not thinking about, I don't know. But if it's not somebody in one of the other categories I don't really tap into as much, and if it's not SZA, I actually see it being 21 Savage. Because it makes sense. If you think about it, 21 Savage had a really great year in terms of his features, and the Her Loss album with Drake, he was on Usher's Good Good, the Diddy track, Another One of Me, he was on tracks on Metro Boomin's album, and then the Her Loss album with Drake. Like, he has just been everywhere this year. 21 Savage has been everywhere. So I have him racking up like 7 nominations this year, as do I have with SZA. So I think it'll be 21 Savage or SZA, but I could be wrong, but that's my prediction, so we'll see what happens. But let me know who you think will be the most nominated artist this year down below. All right, y'all, that was my predictions for the 2024 Grammy nominations. I'm excited to see how I did. Like I said, the nominations come out this Friday, November 10th. Hopefully I get this video out in time before they come out so we can see how I did. Let me know down below who you're rooting for. Let me know what you thought about my video. Let me know if you thought my predictions made sense, if you like them, if you don't like them. Let me know who you think will get nominated. Let me know who you think will get snubbed. Let me know, what are your predictions for the show this year and all that. Let me know if you care about the Grammys or if you don't care. I'd love that either way. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, at the end of the video, I'll have a bunch of screenshots for my full list of predictions for each category that I care about, including my long shots as well. So definitely check that out before you start coming at me, cussing me out, talking about, you didn't include this person. They were probably in my long shots, so relax. Definitely be on the lookout for my next video, which will be my reaction to the nominations when they come out on the 10th. So I definitely hope that'll be a good video. I hope I like a lot of what I see, but I probably won't because it's the Grammys. What else is new? But yeah, I'll have my reaction video to the nominations coming out soon, so be on the lookout for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if y'all ready, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, okay? I appreciate y'all. And also, please subscribe to my Patreon. I appreciate y'all. For anybody who subscribes to the Patreon, I'll definitely have exclusive content coming your way. So definitely go support my Patreon. I appreciate y'all. And this has been your boy Bright, the R&B Kid. Thanks for watching. But for now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all. Peace.
Function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry, you can just